Hi, miracle workers and would-be miracle workers. I'm Teresa McGallagher from the Miracles Tribe, coming to you live today from my vehicle because I have a story to share with you. So this week, Carly and I have been talking about triggers and what kinds of things set us off emotionally, cause us to lose our peace, and how we can shift out of that negative mindset and back into love, which sounds easier than it is sometimes. So I want to share what happened to me this week when I decided that I was going to follow a manifestation technique for generating some income. And the technique was to write down on a piece of paper, send me a clear and undeniable sign for my next step, which is very similar to our teaching from A Course in Miracles that says, Holy Spirit, what would you have me do? Where would you have me go? What would you have me say, and to whom? So I wrote this out on a piece of paper, and I got an inspired idea. And the inspired idea was to list my new vacation home, my Airbnb, on Google My Business. Someone had told me about it several weeks ago, and I hadn't followed through, and I sat down to do it. And within minutes of listing my Airbnb VRBO/vacation rental on Google My Business, I got the nastiest message from somebody. The message was from the person that I had purchased the home from, and what he said was that I had no right to use the photos that I had used in my listing because they had been taken by his wife and they were her intellectual property, and I was stealing them. I was breaking the law. He was going to report me, and I would be hearing from his attorney. There was no preamble, there was no niceties, there was no suggestion that maybe I could just take the photos down. He just came at me with his guns blazing. And for many years now, this kind of thing has not bothered me. I would think, this guy's nobody to me. He's not my husband. He's not my father. I don't have a special relationship with him. I don't care what he thinks, and I'm not going to let that disturb my peace. But for some reason, in this one particular instant, I felt like I had been punched in the gut. I went negative so fast. I was spinning, spiraling, and I just wanted to blast something nasty back at him, but I know better than that now from my spiritual practice. So I refrained from answering him. I took a few deep breaths. I tried to calm my nervous system down, and I thought about how to proceed. And I responded to him that those photos had been taken from the real estate agent's listing on the internet. They're still on the internet, and that I had asked my real estate agent for permission to use them, and she had said it was not a problem. Once again, I got a very mean, very aggressive, very hostile message back from him, and so I took all of my photos down and thought about how to proceed. But in the meantime, I felt so angry. It shocked me. I couldn't believe how angry I felt over this incident. And so I started to look at what was going on inside my mind and why this particular story would bring up so much upset with me. And I remembered that anytime you feel angry, it's always because it's a cover for feeling hurt. There's a hurt inside, and the anger is like a mask over top of it, a protective film to keep us from experiencing the hurt. And the hurt, in my case, was that someone had suggested to me that I had intentionally tried to take advantage of them, had stolen something from them, had done something wrong, had knowingly done something wrong. Now, you may have heard me talk about the Enneagram before. I'm Enneagram type 1, and that type goes through life motivated by always trying to do the right thing, always trying to be a good person, always trying to get it right. So when he touched that nerve in me that said, you did something wrong, you're a bad girl. It just enraged me, and it was an opportunity for me to see that there was still a place inside of me that needed healing, because A Course in Miracles says that there's really nobody out there doing anything to you ever, but we project things from our mind out into the 3D world for us to look at, for us to learn from, and for us to heal ourselves. And I saw that I had created this entire experience to show me that I still had some unconscious guilt deep down inside that messaged to me, you screw up sometimes, you get it wrong sometimes, you're not perfect. And A Course in Miracles says that you are a holy son of God. We are perfect, made in the image of our Creator. And if we doubt that, it is the arrogance of the ego to think that we are somehow less than. So all of this process that I'm describing to you took a matter of days. I calmed myself down the first day from the anger, but on the second day, I still caught myself coming up with responses to this man. How should I reply to him? How could I show him that I'm right and that he's wrong? And we know Course in Miracles says you always have the choice to be right or to be happy. If you're going to insist on proving that you're right and making somebody else wrong, you lose your happiness. You lose your chance at happiness. So I just kind of observed that going on in my head. And then in the meantime, I tried to regroup, and I remembered that I have a friend who lives on the same street as my rental property down in North Carolina who's a gifted photographer. And I contacted her and I said, would you be so kind as to run over to the house and take pictures for me to use? She happens to have a key to the place for emergencies since I live out of the area, and she was more than happy to do that. And I paid her for her photos, which I know she was grateful for, so it was a win-win. I quickly got beautiful new photos to put up on my VRBO/Airbnb rental sites. She made some money. This guy's wife's pictures got taken down, and it resolved everything for everybody in the end. And what I want to say about this is that it started off looking like a very negative situation. I felt triggered initially. I felt attacked, and my dander got up. But in the end, it all worked out to the benefit of everybody, because while I was uploading all of these photographs, these new photographs, I suddenly had another inspired idea, which was I could create an Instagram channel specifically for my rental property, put all these new photographs up there, put a bunch of hashtags for vacation rental in North Carolina and waterfront property, and it created another avenue to advertise my place outside of VRBO and outside of Airbnb. So that's my story that I have to share with you this week for my Wednesday Wisdom video. I love seeing you guys on here. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope my story made sense to you. It's never anything happening to us. It's always something happening for us so that we can see where we need correction. Sometimes we get a big push from the universe, sometimes we get a gentle shove, but whatever it is that we are experiencing that seems to be triggering something within us and feels hurtful is always an example for us to look at what we believe about ourselves, make a correction, become aligned again with our divine creative source, and get back on track. And it always works out for the highest good of all. So I'll see you guys next week. Have a blessed week. I'm Teresa McGallagher, and I love you. Bye-bye.